the Before we go into the conversation, Satish, I wonder if we could bring everyone to a room and then, get everyone to get to know each other. I don't have the slide up yet, but that's on purpose to see if everyone can listen to this. So your assignment, everyone, is to really talk about one thing that has a major impact in your life. Share with your group mate. So what question do you have? Like one thing that really impact your life. For example, I can say this. My grandma. My grandma is impacting my life greatly. She in Vietnam, actually, the older you get, the highly regard you get too. I don't know if this is like a culture thing, but for us, everyone in the family start going to ask her questions about life. And she was there when I was younger. And I remember she gave me um this like really great handmade dessert, and that was the only type of dessert we can get when I was home. She just made sugar, and it was fantastic, but it is just a symbol of love for me. So every time I remember her, I remember that dessert, and I remember the love that she have given me, along with the stories that she shared with me every single day. And she didn't speak a word of English or French, but somehow she was doing business. She was an entrepreneur, and she was doing business with people from France and from different places. And she grew, and she took care of 7 kids. These are my uncles and aunts, right? So that's something I learned from her, the resilience. So that is the story about me. So now it's your turn. You're going to go into the room, 3 or 4 of you in each room, and then you're going to start sharing. This sounds good. What question anyone have? I see Hanish here, Jogleka here, I'm Arit here, Nilesh, Pradeep, Shivani, Praveen, Nilesh, Haris. Okay. What questions? No questions? If everyone's get it, like there's no question, just give me a thumbs up on the chat or something so I know that you're there. You're not just multitasking. Oh,
Yes,
come on, everyone.
it's
Give me
yes.
something on the chat so I know.
Yes, we are getting thumbs up.
Oh, awesome. Harris, thank you. Okay, great. So I think, yes, Nilesh, thank you. What about the rest? We have 2 champions here. We're going through digital transformations and we need champions. So we need more of you to give me a thumbs up so I know that we're all on the same page before I send you in the room.
Keep going. Keep going. We are listening to you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Awesome, Shivani. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, so I think with that, Satish, I think we're ready to bring people in the room.
Yes, so I'm creating 4 breakout rooms. So it will be 4 participants per room, and we can get started. Hope everyone got the topic or the question you are supposed to discuss in the breakout room.
Could you please
repeat?
Could you please
Yes,
repeat the question?
Avva, can you please repeat the question?
Yes. So it is not a question, but it's the request. So think about one thing in your life that has a great impact in your life that shaped you. I mean, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Like for me, I shared the story about my grandma. So it could be anything for you, but this is beyond just a talk, right? I think it's about sharing and bonding and creating friendships. So something, be vulnerable. We're not recording the breakout room. So be vulnerable, be open. And the beauty of this type of talk is that beyond learning, you're also learning from one another, and that's where you share. So very clear. Okay, thank you, Praveen. Awesome, great. So Satish, go for it.
Yes, let's
go for it, everyone.
Started. Yes, so we are creating 4 breakout rooms so that each room will have 4 participants. You can discuss, and once you are done, we'll come back and we'll continue the discussion.
Yes, and it's not And it's not a competition, but I will keep the score.
Sure, let's get started. Thanks, everyone, for sharing your thoughts or the discussion points from your breakouts. So, two reasons why we had this activity before getting into our topic today. The first one, the feedback we got from our previous sessions of Agile Gurus is like the participants are not having the opportunity to network, interact among themselves. We are just participants. We are not having an opportunity to interact. That is one thing. The second thing is like today's topic itself, the human-centric innovation. Each of you shared your life-changing moments where another human is involved. It's not about the tool, it's not about the machine, it's not about the process, it's not even about the AI. That's the reason we had this conversation before getting into the topic. It'll be a panel discussion, no slides. So feel free to ask the questions to Avva. It's not just me asking the questions. Feel free to raise your hand and feel free to bring your questions. Avva is all ours for next 1 hour. So we can ask any questions, doubts, or we can still be in touch with her even once you are done with the session. So Avva, over to you. The first question we would like to discuss is like, how can the AI-driven insights complement human decision making, especially in the product strategy development?
Great. So this is something that I've learned from the product world, right? And from my experience. So before going to answer that questions, Satish, let me just see if I can share questions here. So bear with me. Today, my computer is not on my side. So here we go. Let's see if I can really show it to you. Okay, here we go. So first of all, anybody here has heard of the word North Star?
Are you sharing the screen, Avva?
Yes, I'm going to share the screen right now.
Okay.
But this screen is really not directly talking about the North Star, but here is what, oh yeah, so I see something on the chart right now. Let me just see what people are saying here.
Yes, Rekha mentioned yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So, great, Nika and Nilesh, what is the North Star means to you and great. Everyone who want to talk about it? And people can just go on unmute and talk, right?
Yes, they can.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, Rekha, you can.
Hey, hi. So North Star, actually, we had named one of our very important project as North Star. So, and in the constellation, that's one of the important and brightest stars, as I understand.
Nilesh?
Yeah, hi. My understanding would be the North Star has been like the sailors used to be using as a guiding light while they were traveling. So I think it used to provide directions. They're going in the right direction or not. So that's my understanding of a North Star.
Yeah, so these are really good points, right? Usually companies has missions, visions, and their North Star, and that's where companies can break it down to goals. And here today, we're going to talk about how North Star alone may be tricky. And it's tricky not because of the North Star goals itself, but because of the metrics that go along with it. So if you look at this picture, let's say the North Star for this person is to be healthy. And the metrics here he measure is how many bowl of salad that he is taking. So do you want it to share with me what might be missing? If that's a North Star to be healthy and the metric is to measure by how many bowl of salad that he's eating, what might be missing in this metric that can really get to the North Star?
The goal?
The goal is to be healthy. So is there? Maybe it can be like, I want to be healthy.
Like
Well, you know, there's
as
some
many days or time to it.
many days and time to it. So that's bringing it down to a little bit more specific. That's great. What else?
Maybe a measurement of what he should be consuming per day, metrics.
Now you're getting to the measure, and that's great. So here's the thing, right? Like, so thank you for all your participations. These are all great points. You're starting to think about what is some of their goals. So you're getting to more specific, and then you're talking about the measurements, the metrics, right? So the metric here is to measure how many bowl of salads that the person is taking. But here's the thing, like if you see in the background, there is that treadmill that being neglected. No one's like, if you think about the healthy, right? Like we have to really think about what does it mean to be healthy? Is that mean just physically healthy? Is that mentally healthy as well? So the picture here is really illustrate healthy as a holistic view. So it's not just about eating salads. I mean, if you have ever been in the diet before, I really tried before, you know, like eating salad, and I love salad, but eating so much of it, and that's the only thing I'm eating. It was it made me feel miserable at some point. Like I love vegetable. I was growing up with vegetable, but the point here is that what about the mental health? Like there's a books that being ignored behind him. What about the physical health that also connect our body and our mind? So that could be another metrics too. So in order to really measure North Stars, the goals, the metrics has to be holistic. So this is why we can collaborate with AI, but there's a lot of initial thinking that we have to think about. So for example, let me just take a step back. What comments do you have based on that? Is everyone here with me still?
With AI, the metrics, whatever it's going to generate, it will not be holistic. Even with our perception, it is challenging to get holistic metrics. It takes lots of collaboration and reviews to come up with holistic metrics. So with AI, it would be challenging.
Yeah, and tell me in what way is challenging a little more into it.
Yeah,
What most challenge about it?
even if AI gives some metrics, taking it and following it and implementing it, it would be challenging because there is no intuition, or those are not holistic. My understanding is that it would be very monotonous if AI gives some metrics.
Yes. So you're getting into something very great. So Sholar, I think you raised hand. So share with us what you're thinking.
Yeah, on the contrary, for me, I think with AI, rather than individuals having to put the metrics together, with AI, you might be able to, if in a case when it's actually maybe repetitive, with AI, you might be able to get all the metrics in one go. And areas that would have been overlooked with AI, you might be able to harness the power of AI to get your information from all the data with just a click. and even point you in the right direction of what you're overlooking in terms of measuring the metrics. So rather than it being an impediment, I think it should enhance, it should actually aid in getting our metrics and help us in delivering value, I would say.
Yeah, so these are two valid points, right? This is why it's so let me just really review that. First of all, yes, you're right. AI may be sometimes difficult to do the metrics first. The reason being is because we need the human feedback. We are interacting with each other. There's certain there's emotion involved. There's things that being unsaid. So if we're only based on the metric itself, then, and without really having us to validate and refine the metrics, then it will be very difficult, and sometimes we're missing out on things. And as we're training AI to think like us, or to not to think like us, but to really collaborate with us, it still takes time, because the machine is, it's not like the machine is born to like, it's our best friend since since we're young. So it still takes time to really have that collaborations, that building, just like the same way we're building friendships and trust in the real world, right? So they don't really know all the things that we want to know. Plus, sometimes AI would have a way to dictate. Like, have anyone have an experience where you don't really know how to express an idea, use AI, and it come up with all the ideas, and you're like, okay, that's it. Yes, this is what I want. But what if there's ideas that AI have not touched that could come from you? You're the unique person. You come from unique background. AI might not understand your background, your intuitions, and it missed that. So there is that collaboration that difficult to predict. On the other hand, AI is incredible. Like, I'm all for AI. It's like, I do that, I use that for summary things, take notes, like you name it. And it's incredibly helpful. And sometimes if we, and sometimes I get stuck, right? Like, on the other hand, just like you say, it bring out so many brainstorm ideas, and I can start thinking about and making connections, but it has to be based on my experience. So we collaborate with AI, but we cannot lose our own values, our own North Stars. AI can be there to aid us, but there is a collaboration to really bring out that holistic North Star for what we're trying to build. Any comments? Okay, well, if there's none, Satish, go for it for the next questions.
So we started the conversation, and we already went into that North Star and how to track the metrics and how we can bring it up. Yes. So yeah, can you just elaborate a little bit on, we already discussed about identifying, but how can we track the meaningful North Star metrics using the AI, as Sholar mentioned just now?
Yeah, so how can we track the North Star metrics, right? So this is what we just mentioned just now. In order to track it, have anyone used used scorecard before? Okay, so I can talk about the scorecard a little bit. So in order to track, first of all, continue to bring in that human elements, continue to really reach out in different forms, right? Like from A/B testing, from talking with customers, from doing surveys, from having like a group discussions, and so on and so forth. But besides that, when you scorecard, it could be a way for you to also track that metric as well. Because like the scorecard talk about the adaptivities and different elements that not just the simple metrics, but it's really bring in the holistic part. And then from the scorecards, you can bring in the KPIs as well. So that way, are we hitting the outcome that we want to hit? And just like some of you just mentioned, it's about continuous delivery, continuous collaboration. So it's not something that it's rigid, but it's something that we have to continue to look at the data, look at the KPI, see like, do we need to tweak somewhere, constantly looking at the customer feedback. And that's something that AI cannot do just yet. Like AI can do a massive analysis, but it cannot do the insights that you might have from customer. For example, you have a conversation with a customer, and let's take like an example, right? Like Facebook, they build their certain product, they try to build to help the community before, but there's the way we track it, whether it makes sense or not, is by asking the question and asking the right questions. So by asking the right questions, let's take an example. If you ask a customer to that, okay, would you be, what more future, like what other features would you like to have for this product? People can think of, your customer might be thinking about all kind of features that they can build and they want. But is that the right questions? Maybe the better question could be like, do you even want to use this product in the first place? We have this idea. And if you do, like, do you have any other similar products in other platforms that you're using? And what does it take for you to transfer or change the platform from the existing platform to this platform? Then we can really get into the pain points of the people. Then we can really develop the metrics that make sense. What comments everyone had from here? Everyone is still with us?
Yeah, hi, this is Sami here. So I think what all you are saying perfectly makes sense, because that is also the design thinking principles, right? That that you basically ask customer what exactly is their pain point, what exactly they need, not what I as a product owner think that this is the product I want and this I can sell, but instead we go to the customer and we do the market research, we talk to the customer, we do all sort of things, and then we find out that, okay, what is the pain point of the customer and how I can solve, my product can solve. So basically the same thing.
Yeah, fantastic. So ask questions, and in order to get to, and sometimes, people, like leaders come to me and they said, okay, Ava, but like I am good at giving solutions, and now I'm in a position where a problem is so complex, I don't have the answer for us. So that's exactly what you mentioned. You use design thinking, you ask questions, and you continue to ask more questions, you generate more questions to get to the right questions. So that way you're making sure that you cover all the holistic parts.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Very nice. Satish, back to you.
Yes, we are going into AI. So just, 2 months. So just let me bring back the conversation. Like, what are the strategies organizations can use to balance the AI capabilities with the human-centric approach in the product development?
So your question is about balancing AIs and human-centric approach in product development. Great
Yes.
question. So, a lot of time balance is really get through using the AI analysis, and everyone like with digital transformations, everyone talk about automations, but once again, it's really about automation and about analysis, and that's where AI can be our best friend, right? Like there's no way we can do the analysis as much as the AI can do, but once again, it has to couple with the human insights, and it has to couple with that empathy and that creativity, and it has to come up from our thoughts. Like there's so many days I can tell you, the other day I woke up so early, like 6 a.m. because I'm working with teams from all over the world, and like it was hard to figure out a time to work together, right? So I'm like, okay, let me try 6 a.m., see how it goes. And I do AI all the time in my line of work. Sometimes we wanted to see is that really what we wanted to say? Is that something that AI can really formulate to help us to enhance it with us? and at 6 a.m. my brain is not working as well as during the day. So I can see a huge difference when I look at the data when I was asking AI questions. The answer is subpar in comparison to when I was alert. So that human creativity, human empathy, and the insight that we have at the beginning, it's very important to really bring it in. So you can't, and otherwise, like AIs or analysis, it could just be data visualizations, but it really can't really get us that data insight and the storytelling that we wanted to bring it in. Let's take like Google search, a prime example, right? Like where AI provides very much like efficient search result, but it's us that we really have to ensure that this result is relevant and trustworthy. And also we have to make sure that its products are technically advanced, but also making sure that we're solving the right problems, solving the problems that the people want.
Thanks, Avva. And any challenges you faced or you observed while using any of the AI tools, either for your product development or maybe in generic context as well? Because we all talk about the benefits, the advantages of using it, but I want to hear the other side as well. What's the challenges or what's the blind spots which we shouldn't ignore or which we need to consider before going ahead with the AI tools or for the pointers which we get from the AI tools as such?
Yeah, challenge, right? So I think the biggest challenge, like I love AI, it helped me so much. But come back to that challenge that I mentioned before. Here's the thing, like if we let the AI dictate what we think, if we just put in like a general questions and not specific enough, AI tend to come up with a very general answers. And if we are actually not digging deep enough and then bringing our insights, we might be influenced by AIs and not our own thinking. So that is something that we need to think about. And the second thing I've noticed is that if we work with groups and peoples that, funny because I have some business owners and they come to me and they say, it's scary, Ava. So if you're working with business owners and colleagues or people that think about AI as something very scary, then it's not as easy as first, but it's just like everything else in life or in nowadays, right? Like education is important. So that is the part where you can co-create, you can really share your thoughts, and it takes education and leaders matters in this space. Because here's the thing, AI is going to stay, like we already know that. So jobs are going to be replaced anyway. So how fast we want it to replace us, and how fast are we going to be adapted to it? So if we work with a group of folks where they are afraid of AI, then it takes longer, it's more challenging. But if you work with people and leaders who can see the potential of it, then it become a second nature. It become something that companies normalize it and really help to get the staff to be more enabled and to be more creative.
So co-creation is what the one keyword you mentioned. Like we know the AI will be here and we might have to live with it, making use of it. So what's the best way to get started with? I know most of our participants mentioned they used ChatGPT or any one of the AI tools, but if in case someone is not used to or not yet started, what's the best approach to get started with the usage of the AI tools?
Education. You can take a course somewhere, starting to read about it. Like it's just changing so fast that no matter how much I'm reading about it, I still feel behind, to tell you the truth. So the fields are changing so fast, but it's like learning a new language, right? We just have to continue to practice and exercise it and be literate in it, and then we can make informed decisions for ourselves. So ChatGPT, it's for me, like and nowadays, like when you educate yourself too, you're starting to see there's so many tools out there, and it keep coming up. So it was me, I would just stick to, ChatGPT, and you can use BART too, and then you can use Anthropic as well. But the more you tailor towards one, then you start to train the ChatGPT to get to know you more. And I think you can see, from my experience, you can start to see a little more collaboration happened, like tailored to your insights and not completely very generic. So that could be more efficient and fruitful, let's just say that. And nowadays, like if you look at ChatGPT, right, like you can see DALL-E, and it's fantastic. Like if you look at the pictures I have today, like I didn't even have to go out there. You know how much time it saved me to be able to create this, like within seconds. Like and I'm not really affiliated with the ChatGPT in any way, right? But like now it has the ability to integrate that that function where you can create pictures, and you can bring up attachments, and you can even speak to it. So all of this has really helped us to not just increase our productivity, but our creativity in all senses. So use that and try it out, and experience with that, and give its feedback as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just to share one of my experience, like in one of our conversation, we gathered all the different input suggestions from the customers and users, and we gave as an input to the tool. And we asked, like, based upon the inputs provided, create a persona for us, which we can make use for our product development. And we got a persona, and we started making use of it in our product development. So that is one way, rather than we spending the time and understanding, going through the entire pointers which we gather and the input suggestions. The tool simply helped us to get started with the persona. From there, we continued what should be the features, what should be the enhancements, or how we want to make use of these personas in our product development. Yes.
Yeah.
Like it is helping. The tools are really helping us, but again, we need to be cautious. We need to be careful, like the way what's the input is given to the tool and what's the output generated, and how we want to make use of it and in which context.
Absolutely. And when you talk about personas, right, like there are certain problem statements. Like you can use personas, you can use ChatGPT to generate problem statements too, but also to make sure that when you do that, you can see combining with customer feedback, you combine it with historical data, you can combine with surveys, and you name it. Like there's a whole wide range of data and customer insight that you can combine with. And why is it important is because, like recently I'm working with a company, right? And first, everyone is very much going to like based on like a formula. Okay, we have to stick to the first 3 primary personas, and let's just start with first. Like it's all makes sense, but in order to really get the right persona, sometimes we have to step out a little bit, using that design thinking, using that system thinking, and see, okay, if we really look from all the spectrum from A to Z, from when the customer receive the value from us, and from the beginning of it, how does it look like? And then at the end, we actually decided that we have to bring in 2 personas together to create that stories, to create that narrative. One persona is really about how do we cut costs, how we save more time, how do we to create more value, so that the care manager can really use that time wisely to really help the patients. And we look at the patient as the personas to how do we really give empathy to that pain point that the patients with certain disease experiencing, and then we use that to create AI, integrate AI into the existing IT platforms so that they can really create meaningful data and conversations and create that relationship between the care managers and the patient themselves.
Mhm. And my next question is, like, most of us, at least the today's participants, including me, we are from the Scrum Master or Agile Coach background. So if we have to go and coach or mentor our product owners or our product managers to make use of these tools or these techniques from the AI tools perspective, how can we have the conversation with them, or even with our leaders, to get started with the AI or make use of these the references or the personas or different pointers which are given or generated using the AI tools?
Your question is like, if you're Scrum Masters and Agile coaches and you're working in a place, and how can you make a conversation with the leaders to make sure that they are on board? Is that
with the leaders or with the product owners, product managers?
okay?
We are aware of the tools. We are
Yeah.
using the tools for our own purpose, but to get started with using the tools for the product development itself within the organizations, how we can initiate the conversation with the leaders or product owners? So
this is a really great question. Like, this is where you and I, like, we're a coach, right? So we can bring in that perspective. First of all, I often bring in both that management consulting lens as well as a coach. So I often tell teams that, okay, we need to set goal first, and then we get safe, like get oriented and then get safe. And by get oriented, what I mean is that we need to have a clear objectives. We need to get from that North Star, we need to get that clear goals and get everyone aligned with that. Once we have it, we know what directions we're heading. It's just like we know that GPS, like everyone is going towards that one. We're not going all different places. So this is not very different from, digital transformation. We get everyone to be aligned first. And then we bring in that coaching. We bring in, making sure that every voice are being heard in the room. And by having open conversation, being as coaches, we're bringing that gift and that experience so that we can really have team to set that environment. And I often tell teams, like, when I work with them, I said, and everyone get excited at the beginning of the project too. And they would say, like, hey, look, this is exciting. And I said, it's exciting, but yet we're different, especially we're not the same people. So it's okay that we have a disagreement. It's okay that we might not even like each other at first, but this is where we have to be open about it. And I would usually facilitate an hour of norming. So how do we create what are our goals and how we're going to go about getting our goals? What are our values? And really have everyone to talk about what matters to them personally and what is the North Star of the company. So that way you can marry the two objectives together and that get people a lot more excited. And then from that conversation, I've noticed people starting to be open and start to have that honest conversation and more transparent. And there's so many leaders at first, they come to me and they said, okay, I don't really want design thinking. It sounds like we want to fail. Why would we want to do that? And I said, well, design thinking is really about, first, if you want to use the word fail, maybe we fail fast because no one, even us, like, can really predict the future. So unless you can predict the future, then we don't try. We know exactly where we're heading. But with design thinking, with having that open communication, is really help us to fail forward, fail fast, and do it often. So that is another area that we have to educate and really partner with leaders for them to understand. And then like, there's also that active listening and getting feedback. So it's for leaders to do that, but also for the team to do that, because leaders, they also have challenge with hitting the goal. So hearing them out also have a way to create trust from both sides, but also it has to be both, right? Like, it has to be a partnership. And then from there, we bring in that collaborative problem solving. This is where we can creating that strategy using different kind of Scrum practice, facilitations. You're Scrum Masters and everyone here coaches. So you can use that, but also making sure that you never lose sight of the goals you set to see, do we need to change it? Do we need to adjust it, who else do we need to ask? Like continuous that collaborations. And then once you do that, like this is what you do best too. Like Agile is really good about having this framework where we can really have take an action step and really go towards that. And you as a Scrum Master can definitely help to deliver, closing that gap between strategy and innovation and execution. And continuously, lastly, we have to continue to adapt and evolve and having that mindset that I intend to learn more. And Mohammed, I see that you're having your hand up. Thank you for being patient. Go for it.
Yeah, hi, thanks. I just wanted to give a different perspective also, if you allow me.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
Because we are talking about the AI, and to be very true, with my limited knowledge, I came and I analyzed and I saw that means now what has become more exciting in last couple of months or last 1 year, that the chat GPT and DALI and those things. But these are just an LLM model, which is a very minor part of the whole AI ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
So if we talk about the whole AI ecosystem, basically it is like maybe 1% part it covers. But because it has impacted our daily life and how it has been integrated now in every product. It is now the talking point. But basically, if we talk about the whole AI ecosystem, right? So if we consider like different stages from A to Z, maybe if we consider ourselves in India, we are maybe at level A, and maybe in US and Chinese and Korean and Japanese companies are at B, level B. Because why I'm saying that? Because what we in India, we just consider everything. If we want to use the AI, somehow we fool ourselves that we are using AI company, we are using AI, but we are creating. So we are not doing anything in the AI when we are trying to use these AI systems. Basically, the actual AI work is done by Microsoft or Google or these companies who are providing these AI service, right? Through Azure or through AWS or through Google or through Oracle platform, cloud platform. Now these all are available through the as a service, and now everybody is just trying to make use of that service. So most of the 99% of software service companies or software companies in India, we are not developing as such any AI things or LLM model. We are just trying to use their service. So we are not doing AI here. And the AI as a whole, what is used in the camera or the drone or all these technology, these are like 10-year-old technologies. These are just getting evolving, natural organic evolution that is happening. What I think we as a community, or we in India or the third world country, what or developing country, what we can say, like we should actually invest. If we talk about AI innovation, we should actually think about developing something in the AI, that how you are actually developing the AI models, how you are exactly actually doing any development, any innovation in the AI, not like using somebody's service, because then it comes to the whole area of techno feudalism. Like feudal lords were there in the old age. Now these Amazons and all Azure, these are like techno feudal lords, right? We will end up using them. So we need to think about, like, when we are talking about AI, are we talking about any actual innovation? We are doing any product or development or doing anything innovative there, or we are just using somebody's service to modify, add our spices there and just prepare some new dish. So we
Yeah.
all should think about that. And the as a scrum master and coaches, I think it will be a challenging time going ahead. How market is evolving, But yeah, we need to learn new technology, new tools, because now practically now every tool is coming up with the AI, integrated AI, right? You
Mm.
see the Microsoft tools from top to bottom. Every tool is now integrated with Chat GPT and DALI and some sort of AI in that. So they when uh, when OpenAI released the AI product, within 3-4 months, Microsoft updated all their tools with the AI. Now the Adobe, every tool you will see, and in market all the tools. In next 1 year, you will see every product will have some sort of AI. But we also should think that, okay, are we using somebody's AI service, or we are doing some innovation? So those differentiation we should make. And if we are talking to the leaders in our organization, we should also talk about that are we actually doing innovation, or are we fooling ourselves and just using somebody's AI service and we are calling that we are innovating something? So that's yeah, it's a very big topic. I don't want to take more time, but I think there is a one Yanis Vareco very focused. Okay, so he was like a Spanish finance minister for a couple of months, and his book on techno feudalism or in the YouTube many videos. So if you guys get time to watch that, I think it's a very informative book and very informative videos. On your free time, you can watch that. But yeah, it's a very big topic. I don't want to take more time, but yeah, that was my perspective.
Yeah, well,
Thanks.
yeah, thank you, Mohammed. So there's so much to unpack there, right? But there's one thing that you mentioned repeatedly. So it's very important to you, and it looks like, are we doing innovation, or are we just doing someone else service? So that is a big topic by itself. But I can tell you this: even if we're leveraging existing AI service, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, we're all about improving processes and not reinventing the wheel. But there's also the important, what you mentioned is like, are we really doing innovation? So what I take from that is the fact that innovation first and then AI second. We're not just doing AI for the sake of doing AI, but it has to meet with a purpose. It has to really solve a problems in our community, in our client company. So that is where having that holistic, that collaborations, that humans innovation, human-centric is irreplaceable.
And just to add on, thanks, Mohammed, for bringing that point. And it's a very valid discussion or the conversation which each of us need to think through or need to have with our leadership team as well, right? So the point which you mentioned is like AI as a service. So right now, all of us are using the AI just for our own purpose, but we are not innovating anything new, or we are still in the starting stage, where few organizations like Microsoft, Google, and even our favorite Atlassian, they started with analytics or using these AI tools for helping us, different users or the consumers, end users, by bringing the different AI perspectives, right? So each organization, as per my observation, each organization is taking their own time to think through, first of all, whether to make use of this AI or whether to let their employees, associates use the AI tools within their organization usage perspective. That is one thing. And the next thing is like how we can integrate or how we can make use of this AI as a service or AI as a tool to bring in this new innovation. Going ahead, how it might look like or how it might be like the way how we are using that third-party APIs, we might start using these AI tools to bring in this analytics or different perspectives, information, and help the respective product customers.
Yeah, exactly. And one more thing is just to make sure that let's just come back to that design thinking that I love so much, and that we're building that safe environment so that everyone will be able to speak up and give their perspective. And this, like, first of all, this really helped to reduce risk, right? Like, there are certain problems, like it's very complex nowadays. So a lot of us, we are actually deep into that space. We might have insights. So speak up and encourage if you're a Scrum Master, encourage your teams to be able to speak up. So that really helped to talk about, Mohammed's point is that, like, are we really doing innovation? Does it make sense? Is that really help us to improve our services, truly advance, or is it just using for the AI for the sake of AI? So I think also we have our hands up.
Just before Raj, like I would like to take a moment to mention that as I mentioned earlier, like our organization Teradata, we released a AI tool in collaboration with Microsoft, and we are releasing another collaboration with our partners like Azure and Google Cloud as well. So each organization is taking their own time, their own approach, or the way to bring in their innovation or usage of AI within their context, within their perspective. Yes, so which means it's happening. It may take some time to get to that, and especially if in case it is a service company, we might see a little bit of delay or a little bit of time, because that North Star metric of using the AI tool for innovation should be coming from the client perspective. That's one thing which, again, my personal observation. Yes, thanks, Mohammed, again for bringing the conversation. Rituraj?
Hey, hi Satish. Hi, Eva. Hi, all. So basically, it's a question for everybody. Maybe can answer. So in brief, is industry thinking of anything to avoid the risk of getting caught in regulations being raised around the world regarding AI? Because I think the industry tends to remain 2 steps ahead of government. So is there any standard practice coming up or being considered for upcoming future to integrating AI or using AI within the organization? Yeah, that's all.
Definitely, that's another concern or the thought each of us need to think through, because like especially the open source tools or open source AI is where we observe the companies are restricting or limiting not to use the tools for official usage perspective, right? That's where the companies like Microsoft, Google are coming up with secured AI or secured ChatGPT, secured BART, where the companies can make use of this for internal usage, internal in the sense official usage perspective, and definitely the compliance plays a key role. If I'm a service company, my client might not even allow to use any of the ChatGPT or any of the AI tool code to integrate with my client code base. Definitely that need to go through that compliance or thought process, what could be the impact in the end-to-end perspective or in the overall implementation perspective. That definitely needs to be a 2-step ahead thought process each of the organization needs to think through, and especially the finance sector, right? They have lots of compliance, regulations, guidelines to be followed before even releasing one small change to the applications.
Yeah.
I actually want to add, sorry.
Yes, Mohammed.
You
Sure.
go ahead, Eva. I just wanted to add something.
So here's to saying something to add to, like, is there any procedure or standard? I don't think, like, the fields are changing so much that I don't think there's like a written rule that we can really say right now, like tomorrow things might change again. So that is the part of being fluid. But there's one thing I can see is that AI is fantastic, right? Like, I'm pro AI, but we also always have to think about the ethical AI in use as well. So making sure that we do it being transparent with using AI. Are we really making AI to, we have guidance, like, for example, you think about healthcare industry, right? Like, there's HIPAA, there's, I'm working on a product now in healthcare, and in order to create that AI integration, we need to think first, like, how do we make it secure and safe for patient first, so that they can really voice themselves, and we start to have that authentic communication. So that's one thing as a standard, or always think about safety, security for patient, and in anything we do for our clients. And the second thing is, just like Mohammed is thinking about, right? There's no standard per se, but just like the world is evolving. Before, maybe agile coaches and Scrum Masters, we're like in super high demand, but AI is going to replace some of the things that we do. So continuously educate ourselves and become highly skilled. So then it's not a question of being afraid of being replaced by by AI, but how do we use our skills to create values and more values, and that's creating that AI-driven collaboration decision making. And lastly, companies, before they implement any AI into, it's really, we want to encourage leaders to have that research and development, bringing that innovation, and continue to educate themselves and give choices for people to be educated on AI and see how they can really stay ahead of that trend in technology and innovation. Does that answer your question? Oh, yes, I see the thumbs up from Vitura. Okay, come back to you, Mohammed, or someone have something to say?
Yeah, this is Mohammed, sir. I just wanted to add here. Okay, so one thing which I noticed that when we were talking about the Chat GPT LLM model, and everybody knows the interview given by OpenAI CEO in front of Indian industry leaders, and he clearly told that okay, these type of things India can't develop, or Indian developers can't develop, and it was taken very in an offensive way, right? but the thing is, if you see the leaders, what they were asking, because we are in India are like very spiritual, adhyatmic, what we call in Hindi, right? So we always think about ethics, ethical, and all these things, right? So we have not done any as such innovation there in LLM model or AI field as such, which is noticeable or which is in the world or impacting world over, right? But we think always about the ethical and responsible AI and all these things. So first we need to develop something which is known all over the world, and then you come to ethics and responsive AI. Like they have Microsoft in Azure AI platform, they have already integrated that all the ALM model and all the DALI and everything they integrated, and then they have created a responsible AI module which will filter out different 5 ways of filtering out your language and what is written and what is all these ethical things and responsible AI things. It will filter out in the request and response, all these things. So that will obviously it will happen. But what I am trying to say, we should not even think about the responsible AI and all these topics right now when we have not developed anything. So first we should research and do development and let world know that okay, we are powerful enough here and we have done so much innovation, and then we should talk about the more responsible usage. Otherwise 99% of AI is non-responsible right now, right? Means every drone has, every smart bomb has AI in it, right? And we are using AI for last 10 years in our mobile phones. Our mobile phones, every program is filled with AI. Means your Google Map is filled with AI, search is filled with AI, Android platform is filled with AI, your antivirus who scans your whole machine, even if you don't know, it is scanning all your text, all your photographs, all the times, and it is having the AI. The If you're using Apple platform, it has built-in AI which scans everything. You talk about, you put any child pornographic photographs or text, it will block your account. So everything has the AI already. You know or not know, it is already scanning every text you type and everything. It is in your computer or mobile. But when I am talking about the Indian perspective, basically we should not at all think about the ethical and spiritual thing right now. Um, we should we should also make up our mind that we first need to innovate in these AI field. We should tell our leaders that we be innovative and then talk about these spiritual things. Sorry,
I love
sometimes
it.
I
I
am
love it.
very straightforward, but
You're
that's the
speaking,
reality.
you're speaking my language. Innovate, innovate, and innovate. Like I can say that word all day. I do think though, like having innovation mindset is incredibly important. If you think about like Amazon, Tesla, Google's, right? Like whether we like them or not, like they're really a great example of how they use AIs and how they are really delivering tons of value, the combining that human intuitions and giving feedback, like AIs and, like Amazon, like they recently, I think maybe even just a year ago, they created this platform where, my parents who don't speak English, who don't write English, they can really put in Vietnamese words and they can really search for a product. So that is how we keep, the clients or the customers at the forefront of everything. But I do also think that ethic is incredibly important, like especially in the US, like if you think about healthcare and you think about even mental health, like in order to do all of that, like that's something that we do have to take into consideration.
Correct. Those are just modules, just filters, which we should not worry about that much. Because otherwise, if Microsoft has released Microsoft Copilot, right? And how it has been trained, right? Means they own they purchased the GitHub. They have the more than 100 million developers code there. Every project has been refined by the open source code, has been refined by the coders world over. Now, how they created the Microsoft Copilot? All the Copilot has been trained on the code of GitHub, right? So we still think we are still thinking on the first stage, and they already used all the free code which was available in the GitHub and developed by hundreds of millions of developers, and they simply use that, trained their model, and the product is out there as a Microsoft Copilot. So this is how things happens in the US, and sometimes and you all know how things happens in the developing world. So we need to catch up on that. Yeah.
These are your passions, innovation, catch up. Let's do it. Let's do it together. I'm all for it. Satish, back to you. I'm happy to give a summary of what we talk about if the time is up, or
Sure.
me.
Sure. Please go ahead.
So thank you so much for today. I am so excited that, like I came in and it's early morning for me. I have like a really long week, but I came out feeling energized. So thank you for each of you to be here to ask insightful questions and to participate here. So what we talk about today is how like human-centric and AI integration. So balancing that AI analytics, but also having that human-centric, that empathy is important so that we can really create a product that really serve the needs for the people. And the second thing is we talked briefly about the solution scorecard. So that's something that can really help with continue to create that holistic metric, because it talk about the adoption rate, it talk about retentions and business values, and also even user value as well. So keep ourselves in check of all of this holistic different meters that really help us to highlight how we can build long-term and really deliver value for business as well as the customers at the same time. And with that, I'm giving back to you, Satish.
Thanks, Avva, for having valuable insights, thoughts, and thanks the participants. More than Avva, I would like to thank participants bringing different perspectives, questions, thoughts, and having an open conversation. That's what today's session is all about. It's not just Avva sharing anything or me just sharing the points. It's an open conversation, and yes, we were successful. And thanks. Anyone want to share any last minute questions or points before we wrap up? I know we are over the time, but still, yes.
No, I think very informative session. So thanks, Avva and Satish.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome, and reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm there.
Yes, I shared the LinkedIn already.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Satish. Well, have a great rest of your evening or have a good night. and I'll do the same. Have a wonderful day for whoever from the US side.
Thanks everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.